Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Diastasis Recti. This is another part of my postpartum series, Mom's Guide 2. But this is also a condition that doesn't just affect moms. This can affect a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. Today we're going to be talking about pregnancy and postpartum related Diastasis Recti. So first, let's just go ahead and start. What is it? All right. So it's defined as a separation of the rectus abdominis at the linea alba. So let's break that down a little bit. What does all of that mean? So your rectus abdominis are just your core muscles, here in the center of your body. And your linea alba is the middle. It kind of sounds like what it would be. It's the line right in between your abs, right along the middle of your body. So real quick, another anatomical term that I would like to tell you, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures to kind of show you, visualize in your body where I'm talking about. So the other term I'm going to be referring to a lot is your transverse abdominis. So your abs are made up of a couple different muscles. We have our rectus abdominis, that's your front, that's your six pack. Those are the abs you see. We have our external obliques. Those are along the sides of your body. We have internal obliques, deep underneath those external obliques. And then we have our transverse abdominis. And these are our deep core muscles. This is what actually is responsible for your posture. It connects to your spine, holds you upright, it holds your organs in. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a couple anatomical pictures as usual so we can kind of visualize this. So first one's first, it's just the entire body here. So this right here is your rectus abdominis. This is what we're talking about. And then I'm going to show you a little close-up of that, as well as kind of a cross-section picture. Back with my handy-dandy anatomy textbook. So this is your core. These are your muscles. So this right here, this white stuff, this is your rectus abdominis, okay? And this down here, this little muscle in here that you can kind of see, that's your transverse abdominis. This is your linea alba right here, goes all the way along right through the middle of your belly button. And then this is a little cross section here. It's a little hard to see. I'll try and get you as close as possible. But that's kind of what I'm talking about here, where we have our skin, and then we have our rectus abdominis, and then deep in here we have those transverse abdominis. So that's it for the textbook. You don't have to look at any more pictures, I promise. So like I said, Diastasis recti is that separation right at that linea alba there. So what causes it? So in this case, we're going to be talking about pregnancy. So just a little facts, 66% of pregnant women will have a diastasis recti by the third trimester, and 100% will have it by delivery for full-term babies. So 36 weeks and on is considered full-term, and 100% of women, every single one, will have a diastasis at this point. However, post-pregnancy, postpartum, as our body kind of shrinks back, we start to lose that extra skin and that bloating a little bit. We start to lose it a little bit. So 53% of postpartum women will still have that diastasis. So it goes from 100 to 53, which sounds like pretty good odds, but when you think about it, that's still 1 in 2 women that have this. It's very common. So by all means, don't feel like you're alone. You're not the only person dealing with this. So what causes it? Well, as you can imagine, as your belly expands, as that baby presses on that abdominal wall, you have to expand with that baby. So your muscle fibers can disconnect to create room for that growing baby. Also, relaxin, I know I mentioned this is my pelvic floor video, it's responsible for a lot of things that happen during your pregnancy and postpartum. Relaxin causes those muscle fibers to relax, hence the name, and weaken, and allows your body to actually separate the muscles on purpose so that your baby can grow. Another thing to keep in mind is that subsequent pregnancies, so after the first one, will increase your chances of having a diastasis, because your body, it can recover from pregnancy, obviously, but over time, those muscle fibers just can't quite go back as much as they used to. Think of like, a piece of elastic is a really good example. So if I keep stretching it out over and over and over, eventually it's not going to go all the way back down to that small size that it used to be. Just like eventually our hair ties all stretch out and break. So with each subsequent pregnancy, you do have an increased risk of having more of a diastasis or experiencing a diastasis if you didn't before. So can we prevent it? Unfortunately, no, we can't. Like I said, 100% of women will have it by full term, and we need it. We need room for that baby to grow. However, we can strengthen the core during pregnancy and before to help lessen the effects a little bit. So the exercises that I'm going to show you today in our little routine, you can do during pregnancy and you can do during postpartum. So during pregnancy, before pregnancy, if you're trying to conceive, you're going to be strengthening that core, getting it ready for baby. And then post-pregnancy, you're going to be healing that core. So the one takeaway I want you to really understand here is that you have to heal your core and your pelvic floor in between each pregnancy. I totally understand. You're like, well, I'm going to have 2 kids really close together. I know I'm going to get pregnant again real soon. So I'll just save it until I'm done having kids. No, don't. Because after, it's just like that elastic band analogy. It won't go back all the way eventually if we keep stretching it out. So it is very important for you. It's very important for your health that you properly heal that core and that pelvic floor in between every single pregnancy. So how do you know if you have it? I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes a quick check, how you can check at home by yourself or with the help of someone else. But some general cues are just feeling like a general core weakness. A lot of people notice this when they're trying to sit straight up out of bed. They feel like they can't all of a sudden. They're just not strong enough to put themselves upright. Another way to tell is if you look at your core when you're doing some traditional core exercises in a flexion-based movement, things like crunches, chest lifts, sit-ups. If you look at your core and you notice this coning effect, like right along that linea alba, you have a cone, kind of a ridge. That means there's a separation of those muscles there. So also, just if you're looking at your stomach, if you see a visual bulge anywhere along that linea alba, it can be your upper, it can be your middle, it can be your lower, it can be right around that belly button. If you see a visual bulge, most likely you have diastasis recti. However, if you see that visual bulge, this is when you want to see a doctor or a PT because we do want to rule out the possibility of a hernia as well because they can present in very similar ways. So what to avoid? So something that you don't have to avoid this per se, but don't put all of your money into it, are belly bands. I see them used a lot. I see them advertised a lot. I did actually use one postpartum myself because I had the C-section and the compression did feel really good on that scar. However, like I said, you don't have to avoid them, but they will not cure your diastasis. And unfortunately, some of them are marketed that way. They will not bring your abs back together. They're not going to strengthen those muscles. That lays on you. So if you want to use a belly band, you can, but just know that it's supplemental at best. And to be completely honest, I have a theory that it's mostly water dispersion that makes them work, but I digress. That's a whole other video. And as I mentioned, we also want to avoid those flexion-based core exercises. So if you see that coning, stop. No flexion-based exercises. However, this is where it gets a little tricky. This is why we want to talk to a doctor. This is why we want to talk to a PT, because sometimes flexion-based exercises can help heal your diastasis depending on the type you have. So this is why I really want to iron on home, guys. Make sure you're talking to a doctor, you're talking to a PT, you're getting their advice, because I am by no means a doctor nor a PT. I'm a Pilates instructor, I'm a certified Pilates instructor, and I'm a mom myself, so I'm familiar with these things. So another thing we want to avoid, sitting straight up out of bed. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to show you real quick here. You essentially want to roll to your side and then press yourself up with your arms. Don't sit straight up, because any sort of exercise that causes pressure pressing out on the inside of the abdominal wall is going to further that diastasis, just like the baby pressing out does. That's why we really want to focus on exercises and breathing techniques that bring the core back in and strengthen up that diastasis right there. So another thing to avoid, lifting without proper breathing. So I'm going to show you some breathing exercises here in a second. It's really important that you take this active breath that I'm going to show you every time you lift something, your kiddo, the car seat, a laundry basket. It's really important. I mean, you should probably just be doing this every day in your life anyway. It's safer for your core, but especially postpartum when we're working on that strength again. So enough of the talking. We're going to get into our little routine. It's short, it's quick, it's easy. I know you're a mom, you don't have a lot of time. So before I do that, I will show you how to check as well yourself. You can have someone help you as well, but it's also easy to do by yourself. And this routine can be combined with my pelvic floor dysfunction routine. So some of the breathing is similar. You don't have to necessarily do it twice. If you want to, go ahead. I won't stop you, but you can combine it with your pelvic floor breathing, and you don't necessarily need to do the extra reps that I show you here. However, if you're doing this alone, you'll want to do all the reps. So ideally, I would love if you did this every day. In a perfect world, we would do this every day. But if you just can't make that happen, please try to make some time for yourself about 3 to 4 times a week to really focus on healing that core. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to show you how to check for diastasis recti. So we're just going to start laying on our backs here. I'm going to bring my legs up into a tabletop position. So I've got a nice 90-degree angle here with my hips, 90-degree angle here with my knees. Nice inhale and exhale. I'm going to tell you to do something I normally never let you do. You're going to go into a flexion-based exercise. You're going to tuck your chin here, like you've got a little orange here, you're squeezing it, you're juicing it, and we're just going to continue to look right at our thighs. You're going to go ahead and take your fingers, and you're just going to feel along that linea alba. I like to go side to side, and then you can kind of feel, okay, where do I have this separation? And you're going to want to press pretty hard. I'm not going to lie to you guys, you're going to be a little sore afterwards. So for me, I already know this, but I'll tell you what I'm feeling. I have a little bit of a diastasis in my lower abs, right above that C-section scar, and then right around my umbilical area or my belly button. So that's what I'm feeling there. You can go ahead and feel around at home, feel where you have that diastasis, and just know that a separation of 1 finger or less is considered sealed. Anything bigger is considered a diastasis. If you have anything bigger than, I'd say 3 fingers, if you have like a 3 or a 4 finger separation, that's when we really want to talk to a doctor, because that's going to require a little extra help from a PT. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into our routine here. We're just going to start with some breathing exercises to activate that core, get it ready for a little bit of work. So we're going to start with an active breath. And what I mean by that is we're going to inhale. We're going to relax everything, let that core relax, let that pelvic floor fall down. Those ribs are growing wide. And then as we exhale, we're going to tighten everything up. You're going to feel that pelvic floor lift and tighten. Your abs are going to come together. You're going to feel like that rib cage is really coarsening up, just like you're sucking everything up out of a straw. So we're going to do 10 of everything. So we'll do 10 of those active breaths, and then we'll go ahead and move on. So nice deep inhale here. And exhale. I like to breathe pretty loud. I feel like it helps me really strengthen up that core. We've got 9 more. Really focus as you're exhaling on that area where you have your diastasis. Add a little bit of thought, a little bit of extra tension there. Studies show that when you have that mind-muscle connection, the muscle will activate more. We're halfway done with these active breaths. We've got 2 more here. Last one, and then we'll move on. All right, second breathing exercise. We're gonna go for a short hold. So same thing here. Inhale, relax everything, let it all hang loose for lack of a better term. Exhale, sharp exhale, and then we're gonna hold for 3 to 5 seconds. If you're just starting, start with the 3, and we'll gradually increase to the 5. I'm going to do the 5. And then we'll go ahead and fully exhale, keeping that core nice and tight the entire time. So let's go ahead and start here. Nice deep inhale. Sharp exhale. And we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, release that breath. Got 9 more here. Count in your head. halfway there. I'm sitting here unsupported, but remember you can always have some back support. Do this against a wall, in a chair. You can also do this standing, laying down, quadruped, whatever helps you engage that core. One more here. All right, last breathing exercise here. We're gonna go for a full hold. So we just did that short hold. This time, we're not gonna release that ab and those abs and those pelvic floor the entire time. So we're gonna do about a half inhale, and then we're gonna do a full exhale, keeping everything tight throughout that inhale and that exhale. Don't let go of that core. Don't let go of that pelvic floor. However, if you find that pelvic floor is falling off the wagon, go ahead and relax, and then just tighten everything back up, meet me back in. However, if you are pregnant and you're trying to prevent diastasis recti, you are taking full inhales here. So let's go ahead and start. Nice deep inhale, everything is still relaxed, and then we'll tighten it up. And tighten. Half inhale. Everything's still tight, and exhale. Great, 9 more here. Halfway. Two more here. And last one. All right, go ahead, relax, shake it out a little bit. I know that that last one is hard. That is our muscle endurance. We're gonna go ahead and get into our exercises. So we're gonna start with an elbow side plank. So I'm gonna start on my elbow and my knees. We're gonna take this very gently, very easy. We need to remember here our active breathing. So I'm gonna lift up with my hips. I'm gonna exhale, I'm gonna engage that core and that pelvic floor. And as I inhale, I'll lower those hips down, I'll let myself relax. So we're gonna do 10 on this side, and then we'll go ahead and flip onto our backs, and then we'll do 10 on the other side eventually. Don't worry, I won't forget. So knees are in line with hips here. Feet are behind me. Nice and strong, elbows right below that shoulder. Inhale to prepare. And exhale, go ahead, lift it on up. Inhale, relax. Exhale, lift it up, engage that core, engage that pelvic floor. Really about quality, not quantity here. So we're only doing 10, but we're taking our time. We're going to absolutely every drop out of that exercise that we can. We're halfway done with these. Two more here. And the last one, we're going to roll onto our back after this. All right, go ahead, bring it on down. We're gonna roll onto that back. We're gonna go into some toe taps here. So we're gonna be moving unilaterally, doing one side at a time. So we're gonna do 20 total, 10 on each side. So go ahead, bring those legs up into that tabletop position. Really press your lower back into the floor here. If you need to bring your knees in just a little bit to do that, you certainly can. So inhale to begin. And exhale, we'll go ahead, tap. Knee doesn't move at all, we're just hinging from the hip. Watch me here. And inhale. We'll do that other side. Inhale when you make it back to start, and then exhale with the movement. Halfway there. Make sure that low back is still pressing into the floor, keeping an eye on that form. Four more here. One more each side. Last one. All right, we're gonna stay on our backs until we get to that other side plank. We're just gonna take our arms up to the ceiling straight in line with our shoulders here. We're gonna go for a little arm raise and lift. So arms are gonna go back and then they're gonna come back just in line with those shoulders. So as you exhale, I want you to take those arms back, really focus on tightening up this core here and bringing everything together, really coarsening it up. I know this doesn't look like much, but as long as you're doing it right, you're really focusing on that breathing, you will feel that little shake in your core. So nice inhale. And exhale, go ahead, take it on back. Lower back is still staying pressed into the floor. Halfway there. Three. Two. And last one. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take those side planks on the other side. If you're at home, you can just go ahead and roll over. I'm gonna go ahead, flip around here so you can see me on the other side. Notice that I roll to the side and push myself up with those arms. I didn't sit up straight. I'm really protecting that core. So we're gonna do those side plank dips again. Elbows right in line with shoulder, knees are in line with hips, feet are back behind me. Inhale to begin, and exhale, we'll bring it on up. Halfway done with these. Two more. Last one. All right, we're gonna go ahead, come into a quadruped position. We're gonna be on our hands and knees. We've got 2 more exercises here, and then you are all done. So we're gonna start with a cat and cow here. So if you're familiar with yoga, you are familiar with these terms. My knees are right underneath my hips, my hands are right underneath our shoulders. As we exhale, we're gonna tuck that pelvis and that chin. You're gonna look down towards that pelvic bone, really arch that back up like a Halloween cat. As you inhale, you'll go ahead, bring that chest out towards the sky. Really go ahead, bring those glutes up towards the ceiling. Let yourself dip into your back there. Take this slow. You might feel a little stiff, especially if you've had a C-section. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We're going for 10. So exhale to begin here. And inhale. Really rethinking my decision to wear a high ponytail today, you guys. Halfway done here. Two more. Last one here, finish up with that cow. All right, go ahead and bring it on back to that neutral position. Last exercise here, we're gonna go ahead and do bird dog. So we're gonna be lifting opposite arm, opposite leg. We're gonna do 20 in total for 10 on each side. Same breathing pattern here, exhale to go through the movement to lift, inhale to come back. Now what I don't wanna see is a lift like this. See how I dump into my low back there? I want you to just lift that leg just about in line with that hip. We're still activating our glute, but we're not going into an arabesque pose. We're not dumping into that low back. Inhale here. Exhale, let's go ahead and bring it on up. Inhale at your starting position. We'll switch each time. It's going back and forth between sides. 4 more here. One more each side. Last one. All right. And that is it. You are all done. That was our quick routine that we can do every day or 3 to 4 times a week. Remember, you can always combine this with your pelvic floor dysfunction video as well. Thank you guys so much for being here and for hanging out with me, learning a little bit more about diastasis recti. If there's anything you want to see postpartum specific, by all means, let me know. I've got a couple more videos in the works, in the plans. So thank you so much again for being here. I really appreciate it because without you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much and goodbye.